The check is 4 feet wide. The number printed on it says $2 billion. Every camera in the state is pointed at your teeth, and this is the exact moment your life starts coming apart. You don't know that yet. You're grinning. The big one. The best grin you will ever produce. And the flash keeps throwing your shadow onto the wall behind you, and in the one frame nobody keeps, the shadow isn't grinning at all. It hangs off your shoulders like a coat on a hook. Here's what the cameras don't follow you into. Within a year, a stranger sues you, swearing this ticket was his. In Florida, a man who won $30 million will be found buried under fresh concrete by someone he trusted. Your name and your city go out in a press release because in your state, that's the law. Your oldest friend will need a reason to call you that isn't money, and he won't find one. And 2,000 miles away, there's a man named Dale, a forklift driver with a 12-year-old truck who hit a jackpot of his own years ago and got none of this. No check, no cameras, no press release. Dale is the only winner in this story who comes out whole. The lottery is going to hand you more money at every level, and every level costs you something the one below it didn't. To understand why the man with nothing to show for it wins and the man holding the check loses, you have to go back to the last normal dollar you ever spent. Rewind. Level 1. $1. It's a Tuesday and you're third in line at a gas station, holding a coffee and a scratcher. The man ahead of you is buying $40 worth, and the clerk peels them off the roll like receipt paper because to this machine, that's what they are. You scratch yours on the counter with a quarter from the penny tray and win $50, and the clerk pays it out of the drawer without looking up. That's the whole ceremony. Under $600, the system doesn't even want your name. The state runs this game, advertises this game, and keeps a slice of every dollar in the till, yours included, already spent. And the big prize, the number nobody says out loud at the counter? The odds sit at 1 in 292 million. Play twice a week, every week, and you can expect to hit it about once every 2.8 million years. You buy a ticket anyway, now and then, the way everyone does, $1 for 3 days of imagining, which is honestly a fair trade. Dale buys 1 ticket a week, same numbers every time, and folds it into his wallet behind a photo of his mother. He never checks it at the counter and he never talks about it. Nobody claps for Dale. Keep an eye on him anyway, because in a few years you're going to win real money for the first time, and you should know now, the $50 was the only prize that ever came free. The next one comes with paperwork. Level 2, $10,000. 4 of your numbers come up and the gas station can't pay it. Anything past $600 means the claim office, a form, your social security number, and a document called a W-2G that makes your luck official to the one player who never loses, the IRS. Past $5,000, they hold back 24% before the check is even cut, so $10,000 becomes $7,600 in the time it takes a printer to warm up. Still, $7,600. You tell your brother because it's a good story, and by Monday, a guy at work you've spoken to twice congratulates you on the 10 grand. Pre-tax, the number already growing in the retelling. The transmission gets fixed. There's a weekend at the lake. Your cousin needs $800, which is really him testing whether the well is real, and you hand it over because what kind of man wins the lottery and says no? 4 months later, the account sits exactly where it started, and that turns out to be the normal ending. Researchers followed thousands of Florida winners, and the people who won $50,000, $100,000 ended up bankrupt about as often as the people who'd won pocket change. It just took a few years longer. Dale, someone at the plant swears Dale hit 4 numbers once too, and asked him about it. Dale said, "Huh." Then he drove home. Nobody claps for Dale. The next win is the one everyone actually dreams about, $1 million. It arrives with a trap built into the very first question they ask you. Level 3, $1 million. All 6 on a state game, and at the claim office, a woman with laminated patience asks you the question every winner answers before anything else. The lump sum or 30 years of payments? Nobody explains it in that lobby, so here is the math behind the pamphlet. The million is the annuity figure, the total if you let them pay you slowly for 3 decades. Take it today as cash, and it's roughly half. Then federal tax takes its share of what's left, your state takes another, and the $1 million people will congratulate you on for the rest of your life lands in your account as something like $400,000, give or take your zip code. Real money. It buys a paid-off house. The yacht everyone pictures was never in the envelope. But the press release says millionaire because your state publishes winners' names, and the word does the rest of the damage on its own. The letters start that week. Medical bills, business plans. A man writes that God told him you'd fund his ministry, and he has included an invoice. A financial advisor materializes beside you at church. Your sister stops asking how you are and starts asking what you're doing with it. The first no you say, an old friend, a used car loan, comes back around as a story about how you've changed. That same year, you'll only understand this later, the banknote on Dale's mother's place gets quietly paid off by an LLC with a name like a filing cabinet. You hear about it and think nothing at all. Nobody claps for Dale. Why would they? You, meanwhile, have decided the real problem is that $1 million wasn't enough. Hold that thought. The next level is where the money gets big enough to kill people. Level 4, $30 million. Say the next ticket hits for $30 million. Real people have stood exactly here, and what happened to them is on the record. A laborer in Florida won $30 million and took 17 as the lump sum. Within a couple of years, he was handing out money so fast that strangers waited for him, outside the store, in his driveway, men he'd never met asking for $10,000 the way you'd ask for a lighter. He told his brother he'd have been better off broke. Then a woman appeared. A fan of his story, she said. She'd help him manage the vultures. Piece by piece, she became the wall between him and everyone else. His money, his phone, his mail. And when he vanished, she's the one who explained that he'd just gotten tired of the begging. Police found him 3 years after his win, buried under a slab of fresh concrete behind a house tied to her. She will die in prison. In Texas, a man who won $31 million bought houses for his family, gave to his church, lent to anyone with a sad story and a handshake. Not 2 years after the ticket, he took his own life. And shortly before, he'd told his financial advisor that winning the lottery was the worst thing that ever happened to him. That's this level. At $30 million, what strangers see when they look at you is money that still answers its own door. So you stop answering it. You gate the driveway, screen the calls, pay a man to open the envelopes. The requests don't stop. You just can't hear them anymore, and neither can the 3 friends you have left. Dale is still on the forklift. His co-workers like him for reasons that have never involved his wallet. Nobody claps for Dale. And notice something. Everything so far happened to winners nobody outside their county could pick out of a crowd. At the next level, the whole country can. Level 5, $300 million. You're an event now, and the man who knew this level best won $314 million on Christmas morning. At the time, the biggest jackpot a single American ticket had ever taken. He wore a cowboy hat to the press conference and promised to build churches, and he meant it. Understand, he was already rich, a construction millionaire. If anyone alive was equipped to survive this level, it was him. Within a year, someone spiked his drink at a club and lifted $545,000 in cash out of his car in the parking lot. His house got broken into, then his office, then his cars, again and again by his own count. Everywhere he went, strangers arrived carrying a pitch, a lawsuit, or an open hand. He gave his 17-year-old granddaughter cars and cash and an allowance bigger than a teacher's salary, and the friends that money bought her ran exactly as deep as the money did. 2 years after the ticket, she was found wrapped in a tarp behind a junked van. A few years later, her mother, his daughter, was gone too. Near the end of his life, he said it plainly. He wished he'd torn the ticket up. At this level, you finally understand him. Your version is quieter, but it rhymes. The house has cameras now. Everyone inside it is salaried. You sign more documents than birthday cards. And one night, stopped at a red light by the old plant, you watch the shift let out and spot Dale in the crowd, laughing at somebody's joke, and it lands on you with a small, cold weight that you cannot remember the last time a human being was that relaxed within 100 feet of you. Nobody claps for Dale. Nobody needs to. One level left, the one from the photograph, the check, the shadow. Time to find out what $2 billion actually buys. Level 6, $2 billion, the photograph. November, A gas station in Los Angeles County, one ticket matching 6 numbers for the largest lottery prize in history, $2.04 billion. That's what the 4-foot check says. It is not what anyone receives. $2 billion is the 30-year annuity total. The cash the real winner chose came to $997 million, just under half, and the tax bill hadn't even cleared its throat yet. The check is an advertisement, and what it advertises is the game. Because here is the machine under this whole ladder, the thing every level has been teaching you. The lottery has no stake in what happens to you after the photograph. Its business is the photograph. Your face on the check is the marketing that sells next week's tickets, which is why California and most states will not let a jackpot stay anonymous. The press release is the product. You are its packaging. And now the spotlight does to you at full wattage what it did to the men at 30 million and 300. Your name crosses every paper on the planet inside a week. A man sues you, swearing the ticket was stolen from him. It happened to the real winner, and it took the courts almost 2 years to put it down. Photographers learn your gait. Every person you have ever shaken hands with is quietly doing math about you. The money is real. Most of the freedom never shows up. Which brings us finally to Dale. Years ago, when his 6 numbers came up, here is the whole of what Dale did. Nothing. He didn't drive anywhere with the radio up. He hired a lawyer in a state that lets a trust claim the prize, signed where the tabs were, took the annuity, a quiet salary for 30 years instead of a bomb, once, and clocked in on Monday. His mother's house got paid off by a filing cabinet. His truck is 12 years old because he likes the truck. There has never been a photograph of Dale. That was the entire trick. The ruin was never inside the money. It rode in on the spotlight, and the spotlight is the one part of the prize you're not allowed to decline. You keep the photograph. It really was the best day of your life, true the same way the check is true. Printed, 4 feet wide, and worth about half what it says. Somewhere right now, third in line at a gas station, someone is holding a coffee and a scratcher, playing the only level of this game that's safe, the dollar, and the 3 days of imagining. Every level above that one is the same transaction, louder. The money brings the letters. Behind the letters come the lawyers, and behind them the cameras. And once the cameras find you, so does everyone else, for good. You're certain you'd handle it better. Every winner in this story was certain too, except the one nobody clapped for. Dale's fine. Same numbers this week, folded behind the photo of his mother, in a wallet nobody has ever thought to ask about. If your numbers ever come up, and they won't, but if they do, say nothing. Call a lawyer before you call your brother, and leave the big check on the wall for the next grinning man's shadow.